Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video and the final fight for Heroes Jubilee in the month of November 2024. Boss Battle 2. This is the Divine General stage, specifically built for that team, and as you can see, its score multiplier is quite a bit lower than Boss Battle 1. But this is the team that everyone summoned for this month, and you can see that these scores are, within reason. It's just that when we hit these two, Nature and TM, they are also going for that 2% chance to naturally crit. So both boss battles, if you want to fish for extra damage and a higher score, you can try and run the stage over and over and over again and nuke and try and get some natural crits. But it's a 2 or 3% chance to do that from each of their kits. So most people are not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. The team takes forever to run in the first place, and I don't want to sit there any longer than I have to. So it's not a fun team to run anymore, unfortunately. But the starting hand is yet again a 2 blue hand, which the Divine Generals can't do anything about. So that's awesome and incredible, right? The enemy is Lumi, who's doing a few things. One, she's nerfing blues. So 5 turns, which you'd think, oh, well, it's an 8-turn fight. You can just do it afterwards. Now she reapplies it. So the entire fight, blues are nerfed, unfortunately. She also has a butt-ton of crit resistance and small amounts of Pierce and Synergy resistance. If you have Elmesia, none of this matters, because she's going to take all of this away, which is why people are fishing for those natural crits. And she does give herself defense up, which will fall off by the nuke. And then she seals defense skills, which I thought is kind of weird, but sure, whatever. I guess it's to make her so we can't lower her attack or something. I don't really get that part, but let's start with the big old whale team. Also, as a disclaimer, you're meant to use the new team. If you don't have the option, I'm going to show you a bunch of other teams that can do it, but you're going to have to build your own team and use what you got. I can't make a team for everybody, for every single person's box, so use this as a guide, make a team, understand what you're trying to do, and then just push on. If you've got substitution units, like, you don't have to ask me if X character will work or Y character, just try it out. Try it out yourself. This is how you science and this is how you learn from trial and error, right? So, now let's get started. Alright, whale team, Elmesia, Hero, Diablo, Gazel, Raphael, BLANC. Yeah, I don't expect people to have the Hero and BLANC, so the next couple teams are not going to have them at all. But this is the prime time big damage setup, and I am obligated to put it into the video. So we're going to go at hyperspeed. We're also going to skip around because this team literally takes forever. Like, this clip, even at 200% speed, we're going at 200% speed because the clip is 14 minutes long, and I'm not putting a 14-minute clip into the video, so it's going to be a 7-minute clip, and we're probably going to cut it down even more because between turns like 3 and 6, we don't really care what we're doing. We're just orb changing, we are stacking with Raphael, and you're trying to get the EX ults for both BLANC and Raphael as quickly as possible. That way we have guaranteed green orbs to use BLANC's alt swap ability, and then everything else in between is, whatever happens. We don't want too many ults for Diablo and the Hero, and certainly not Gazel, because he doesn't have any kind of effect that's going to impact the team, but Diablo and the Hero can at least give Raphael and BLANC extra weakness strike. So it's not a bad thing if you have their ults, but it takes away from the amount of green orbs we're sending, which hurts the gauges for protection and skill points that we'd be able to take advantage of. So we'll do a stack here, we'll use the skills, and then we'll use another one, and we'll use another one, and then we'll use a stack here. Just so much stacking. We'll bring BLANC in, and then we'll use the alt swap ability, so now we just have a Diablo ult and 6 orbs, and that'll give us weakness strike, 6 orbs here, and this is your life for the next 15 minutes or so. We got a lot of BLANC orbs, so we'll use Diablo's ability again. Now he can go away, because we don't need to use him multiple times. He just needs to use that skill and then GTFO. So Gazel is going to orb change everything. We'll alt swap the one Raphael ult. This will get us the BLANC ult this turn, quite a bit of it, actually, because we got 3 orbs for her. And then more stacks of Raphael. And if you can, if you have excess points where you can't use an orb change or a Raph stack, you can do an extra stack of BLANC, because she does have weakness resistance down on it, and it's going to get reset. Like, it's not like you're not going to use it. So we are halfway through the fight now, and there's still 10 minutes left in this clip. Oh, all right, alt swap. We now have alts for both our space characters. That's good. So we only have 2 orbs to change here, and then we can take BLANC out. Like, she's good. She just needs to alt swap, and then she goes away. She's not important for stacking. The Raphael stacks are much more impactful than BLANC's alt swap and weakness resistance down. So orb change, and stack, and then more stacks, and more stacks, and more stacks, and more stacks, and I'm going to cut ahead now. Okay, so here, let's see. So we're going to rewind. This is turn 7. Turn 7 we're rewinding because that gives us the most amount of points to pull from, so we can get as many stacks as possible for Raphael. We just need to navigate around who's got what orbs. So we have to bring Diablo in because we have to use his multi-skill, but we also need Gazel up front because we need an orb changer for the rewind turn. So this is where a lot of thinking starts to take place. How best to manipulate the team into your favor. So here, boom, and then we're going to take the hero out because she doesn't really contribute anything after this point, and we're going to have still that 1 blue Diablo orb, and we need to get rid of that. And we need to get rid of these alts. So Elmesia to reset, and then we'll use boom, 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 stack, orb change, multi-skill, and then we're going to do more stacks of Raphael. And then, oops, sorry. We're going to send everything. Diablo alt, Gazel alt, orbs, 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 and then the rewind will kick in. And then we just need to orb change again. And thankfully we've got a pretty good hand. So orb change, we got another Elmesia, so we can reset Gazel and reset Raphael, and then use 2 more orb changes, and then as many stacks as possible, just to make sure that you have enough points to actually use all of your buffs. So stack, and then stack, and then stack. We're at 540% skill point gain from Gazel. We just need to leave a little bit of extra points left over. So 38 points left over. We can't really do anything else. Send this. We're going to cap out. That's good. And then we've got both the BLANC EX alt, the Raphael EX alt, and a Diablo EX alt ready to go. So let me pause really fast. Okay, so we're going to slow it down so we can actually see the nuke. So we're going to bring the hero in for Gazel. We're not going to use his debuff because the additional stacks from Raphael are going to be more impactful than using Gazel's debuff. So he doesn't need to do anything anymore. We've used the hero Pierce buff. We are going to swap in BLANC. And now we'll use big time, big time, big time. Use the multi-skill. And that leaves us 95 points to use for Raphael's skills. And if you've fully capped out, that's pretty much what you're going to be at. So we can use Elmesia to reset Raphael's costs. We have a natural hand of oranges, which gives us a 6-hand send, which is great. I would prefer one of them to be BLANC, but oh well. So there's 1 extra stack, 2 extra stacks, and then 3 extra stacks, and that's going to be what we can do here. So now looking at how much we've done in this run, we are at 33 stacks of Raphael. 33. And then we are at 145% attack buff from Elmesia stacks, and we've got everything available. So this is, I think, my highest scoring team, and we're going to send all 6. So Diablo first, because he gives the weakness strike, and it's going to give the 60% because of his level. So he does 13 million. Cool. Raphael, 128. BLANC, 152. And then the follow-up orbs, Raphael does 1.4, or is that 14 million? That's 1.4. That's 5.8, though, or something like that. He must have guarded. So that's 307 million damage, which is ridiculous to think about, but they cut down the score multiplier so low. Look at that. 0.0015 is the multiplier, so we actually end up getting not a super high score. But the people who have more dupes, the people who have invested more of those battle clusters, and the people who are naturally critting are going to have a much higher score than this, and I just cannot be bothered. But that is the Whale team and how it's meant to be run. Okay, so assuming that you didn't pull for the new BLANC and the new hero, we're going to run a half meta team with Elmesia, Raphael, Diablo, and then we've substituted for Isis and the Light Blanc from the Visions of Coleus second anniversary team, who is an alt swapper, but to blue orbs. So that's why we brought Isis, because we need someone to convert blue orbs. So she's going to work overtime here. And Blanc, still has decent buffs. Weakness Strike helps pretty much everyone on this team, minus herself and Isis. Well, actually, it'll actually help Isis. No, never mind, she won't. It'll help the primary nuking characters. And then Synergy Resistance down is good because this is a synergy team. So, I mean, they're both pulling their weight. It's not a bad team. It's just you do have a lot more to think about now because you are alt-swapping multiple orbs to blues, which is not what the team wants. So here, we will bring Isis in for Blanc. We don't really need her right now. We'll reset Isis with Elmesia, which means we can use her orb change, and then the stacks, and then we can bring Gazel in, and we can just change those two orange orbs, and this will be a full hand of Divine Generals. So boom, another stack of Raphael, and then another orb convert. And then there's 6, 200 points. We're looking pretty good, and that's pretty much a team. This one doesn't take as long to do, but you are still stacking a lot. And unfortunately, you can still get very unlucky with orbs like this, where you don't get any natural greens, and you have to orb change everything. So that will take away from your total stacks. And they're not even blues, so I can't do anything about that. So here, I think we just send it. Yeah, we're just going to send this and clear our hand out, because we got 6 more turns. We're going to get EX alts again, so not a big deal. With this team, you actually do want Gazel's ult on the nuke turn, because even though he won't get the weakness strike from Blanc, he'll still get the synergy power buff. And he can still do okay damage, because he's still on the team. So here, this works out a lot better. So we'll bring in Blanc for Diablo, we'll use the alt swap, make it 4 blues, and then we'll bring Isis in, and then we'll use her skill twice, and that'll be our 6 green orbs. And that's why we brought Isis alongside Blanc, because we need to be able to do that, because there's just no way in hell we could still run this team with just Gazel. Because 1, we're only going to change 3 people's orbs, and 2, that's way too many blue orbs. So here, again, we're going to make use of Isis. She is putting in work today. So another free stack, the orb change. We can use the orb change with Gazel now, and then we'll take out Isis, for Blanc. Boom, that gives us 2 Divine General orbs. Now we need to bring Diablo in for Blanc, who doesn't have any orbs, but that's fine. We'll use Elmesia to reset. We'll use Diablo's 0-cost skill, and that will allow us to use 2 more orb changes for Gazel. So this team, it's not the super whale team. You're not going to get nearly as many stacks. You're not going to get back nearly as many points a lot of the time, because you're having to use other skills that take away from your stacks. But it's still a fairly decent team. So I'm going to skip ahead now, because we don't need to watch this anymore. And this is the nuke turn right here. Yeah, this is the nuke turn. And we've got another full send of natural orbs. We've already used the big time buffs. And we're, again, not using Gazel's buff, but he does have an ult. So we're up to 18 stacks for Raphael and 130% attack. So not nearly as good as the last stage, but this is not an optimized full meta team either. So we've got a bunch of stuff, plus we have the extra weakness strike and the synergy resistance down debuff from Blanc. We've applied the weakness strike to Gazel and Raphael because they're single target alts, and Gazel does 490% in his ult versus Diablo's 150. So right there, no, you don't want to nuke with Diablo. You don't want to give him extra damage buffs because he's not really doing damage here compared to the other characters. So we'll send him first because he still gives the weakness strike. So 1.4, Gazel does 2.1, Raphael 21k. And then the 200% orb, 337 from Gazel. Unfortunate that we have no Raphael orbs, that would have been a lot better, but it is what it is. And that score gives us 92.5. So, not 300 million, but what are you going to do? You don't have 2 single target space nukers who are doing gigantic big daddy, big mommy damage. But that is a half meta team that can work for you if you don't have the new Blanc or the new masked hero. Okay, so I know the stage nerfs blues, but we're going to try and get around that with the power of rainbows. So the Visions of Coleus team is another space team that has a bunch of single target alts and can do okay damage to this boss Lumi. So we're going to use our own Lumi to give us that damage increase. We brought Ogre's Pride Soe. If you don't have him, just bring another green to blue orb changer or another rainbow converter, one of the two, whatever works. But we brought him for the extra power, Coleus, Rimuru for the rainbows, BLANC for the alt swap, and then Violet and Jean for their damage and other skills. So turn 1, we're not going to do anything because we can't convert this. So we're just going to send the 4 green orbs and hope that our next couple of turns are going to be a little bit better. It's just that the blues are nerfed by like 80%, so it's going to take a long time to get running. And it will be difficult to probably even get EX alts unless you magically get like a 3-3 spread of rainbows for both Jean and Violet, which, spoiler alert, we don't get here. So this team could do better than what I'm going to show you. It's just you need some luck because you're playing against the house, right? You're sending blue orbs that give you 80% less protection gauge, 80% less skill points, 80% less alt gauge. So this turn was actually kind of a godsend because I only need to use 1 orb change. Like, I could have sent these orbs and gotten Jean a bit more gauge, but I figured it would be better to get more protection gauge. So we're going to bring Rimuru in, and we're just going to convert all of these. And I could have rainbowed here, but it wouldn't benefit us because neither Jean or Violet have orbs. So we're just going to send it and get another stack of Lumi. And that's pretty much the name of the game, is just try and get as much as possible. So here we can use the Soe convert and the... okay, or not. And we're just going to send, I think, the BLANC orbs then. Yeah, okay. So we do send the BLANC orbs. I'm trying to build up enough so we can successfully orb change and rainbow in 1 turn. We're halfway through the fight now, and we're not looking that great on anything. So we are really banking on orbs. So here, sending the greens, and now we get an okay hand, I guess. We've got 3 Jeans, 2 Soes, and a BLANC. So we will convert, and then we will bring in Violet. Violet for Soe needs to come in. Oh, okay, we're doing this the other way. Alright, well, we're going to rainbow this. We're not going to get a full hand, but it is what it is. Alright, so yeah, this run could be a lot better, but I don't really feel like doing it again. So, I don't think anyone gets an EX ult on this run. Yeah, Violet's not just barely over 1. Jean's at underneath 1.5, and we only have 1 turn left. So, alt swap, we'll bring Soe in for BLANC to convert these to blues. We're going to get quite a bit of points now because we've bypassed that whole 80%. We're at like 400 or 500% now on skill points, so it's not really a big deal once you get to the end of the fight. It's just getting alts for the fight. So because we have a weird kind of turn, I should have brought Rimuru in for this turn. That way I could bring Soe in second to last. But we will use his buff, which is attack for magic allies, and then synergy power. And then we'll bring BLANC in, and we'll use all 4 of the other buffs. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. And we can send a full 6 hand of blues. Plus 2 Jean orbs. 1 more stack of Lumi. And then we'll send it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. BLANC does 744. Violet, 2 million. Jean, 2.5 million. And then 1, 2, and 3. So, playing against the house, it kind of works. Kind of. It's not a super great score, obviously. 6.9. Nice. 69. But it's an option for you. If you're not fully confident, or you didn't get the Divine General team, or you're playing like an old account that was from last year and you have this team available, minus Soe, and bring someone else for the green orbs, you can make it work. Alright, I'm not going to show the entire run for Primal Demon, but it is another team with Space Nuker, and you get extra damage against wind. BLANC here, so 3 different BLANCs, 1 video. Nice, just handfuls of BLANC. Primal Demon, Jean, Diablo, Misery, and then, once again, Coleus, Rimuru for the rainbows. This team works not as well. It's the multi-use skill gimmick, but we're not resetting skills until we hit turn 8 with Jean. it's very difficult to get the EX ult, even with BLANC's ability to get extra ult gauge on all orbs. So we're just going to cut ahead, and this is the nuke turn here. So all we've done is stack. We have an EX ult for Earthjean, which is great, but not Space BLANC. So this run could also be better, but it is an option for you if you want to use it. So what we did on turn 8 was we used the Jean 80-point skill, which gives us 300 skill points, which will then allow us to use all of our buffs, plus a few stacks of BLANC's own abilities, and then we'll go ahead and nuke. This team's hard to run, because you have a dedicated green changer and dedicated orange, and then you have Rimuru. Again, you're trying to go for a lot of rainbows. 1.9 million there on BLANC. Would have been higher if it was an EX, but now we're physical space, so we're not even super weak point. We're just normal weak. And yeah, it's a pretty abysmal score. It's like half of what the Visions of Coleus team did. But it is another option for you if you so choose to use it. Okay, so assuming maybe you got Raphael and Diablo, but we're not lucky enough to pull Almesia, there is Dark Veldora, who you can also pick up from the free ticket shop with your rookie support mission Protector ticket, and you can get him, which he is a very solid option still, even 2 years later. So we're going to bring him, Gazel. The Space Masked Hero, in hindsight, not the best character to bring because of all the crit resistance that Lumi has, and we have no way to seal it, unlike Almesia. So instead of bringing the hero, bring like somebody else that's going to give you a support buff. I don't know what kind of buff, but just bring somebody else, because you end up nerfing your damage using this hero. But then we've got the Dark Milim for more orb changing and the ult buff, and then Diablo and Raphael for the quote-unquote damage output. So turn 1, because my Milim is skill fused, she can convert turn 1. If you can't, then just swap the hero for like Isis or something, and you can change the 2 blues. It's fine. Again, I recommend you not bring the hero because it'll nerf your damage. So bringing another orb changer isn't gonna really hurt your. That's actually probably gonna help you a lot more in all actuality. This hand would normally be pretty terrible, but because we have Milim, we can still kind of get around it. So Veldora, he resets skills, but only down by one level. So unlike Almesia, where you're back down to like 0 cost, it's only going to go down 20 points. So you can't go quite as ham on skills as you would with the Almesia team, which really hurts how many stacks you're going to get with this team. But you do need to get as many stacks as possible with Raphael. The point scenario, not that big a deal, because Veldora only raises your skill cap when you use him. It's not a passive increase. So it's not as important, and also he doesn't stack as much as Almesia. Almesia does 50 every turn, and Veldora does 45 every time you use him. So it's not consistent, and it's not 50, it's only 45. So you are losing a little bit here and there, but here would be a perfect chance to just use Isis or something instead of doing this. But let's use Veldora to reset, and then we can use the Milim orb change, and then the multi-skill, and then another stack of Raphael. Again, not going too ham on it though. So 1, 2, and then we're going to send everything but Raphael, because at this point Diablo is not giving any extra damage. Like, he's not getting the buff from Almesia. So the only character who's actually going to do any damage on this team is Raphael. So we're going to prioritize getting that EX ult and then sending them away. And everything else in between is just fodder. So this is, halfway through the fight, and we are just converting all over the place, sending the ults as we get them. We'll bring the hero in because we have that other green, so this gives us a full hand. And then this gets us a few ults, one ult. And then that's just an unfortunate thing right there, is again, no green orbs. So thanks a bunch. So multi-skill, I probably should just send this hand of oranges, is what I should probably do. So yeah, there we go. We'll bring Raphael in. Ooh, oh, am I doing what I think I'm going to do here? Okay, I guess I am. So orb change, and then orb change again. Yeah. Alright, and then we'll get Diablo out, or Milim out, or we're just going to send these. Okay, we're just going to send the entire hand. Trying to work up to the EX alt with Raphael still, but we don't have an alt swapper. Makes it very, very difficult to run this efficiently. This is the second to last turn, and now reset, and then orb change, probably orb change with Milim or somewhere around there. Alright, multi-skill. Oh, we have to rewind as well. So you can use the rewind, and it could get you a few more stacks here and there, but her other skill is just not useful here. Because Lumi has 80% crit resistance, and the hero only drops it by 30%. So, if higher if she's skill fused, but you're still not going to match the you're not going to wash out the 80% that Lumi has. So you're better off. And then we also have synergy resistance, which is only 30% on Lumi, but we are a synergy team. So technically everything we're doing is kind of hurting us. I mean, we're going to overpower her 30 because Diablo gives 100, but it means that we're not actually at full power, which is just unfortunate. So this is the nuke turn. We have used every buff possible. We can use Veldora to reset a little bit more. And boom, and boom. We have a terrible hand, but we're just going to go for more stacks. And then we have 8 stacks of Raphael, which is a lot more realistic because we are not having to use... You're not full resetting, so that's essentially a stack a turn. Probably quite realistic for people. So we've got the 80 plus 70 from Milim. Milim, with the crit, does 1 million. She probably would have done more than that if we were not critting again. Raphael does 3.8. Yeah, 3.81. Again, could be higher if we were not critting. Please do not use crit on the stage. And then 200k on his normal orb, and that puts us at 5.8 million damage, which, again, could be higher if we did not use the crit. So if we've learned anything from this team, do not use crit. Let's move on. Alright, the final team, sad team, Old Protector Chloe, Summer Shizu, Trya, Isis, the Wielder of Magic 2nd Anniversary Shizu, because she's a single-target space character, and then Space Milim, single-target space character. Not a very powerful team, but Chloe gives us a 40% alt damage buff for 3 turns, so we don't need to bring an alt buffer, and she also changes alt orange orbs to greens. So we only need to worry about blue orbs on this team, essentially, which is why we brought Trya and Isis. If you don't have Trya, bring a different converter that changes blues specifically, like you could bring Water Alice or something, or another character, but you only need to worry about blue orbs, essentially. So, turn 1, we'll use Isis, convert, full hand of greens, we'll take out Shizu and Trya, and then we'll send our 6 orbs with 2 space characters. This team is not good. Like, this is bottom of the barrel, sad team, okay? I just need you guys to understand that. But here, Isis orb change, the green buff, and then we can change his oranges with Chloe. Boom. Alright, we got a full hand of greens. Don't really need to do anything else. Shizu is an EX character, so we do want her to get an EX alt eventually, which this hand really helps out with that. So we can just use Isis again. We're going to use her a lot. The green buff is already active, so we could actually alt rush here with Shizu, and then we can bring the other Shizu, Summer Shizu, in, because we're going to have to alt swap next turn. And she's going to alt swap to a blue, which we can deal with. So we'll bring Trya in. Boom. Alright, that gets us the EX alt. Perfect. I do want to keep sending orbs, though, so we're going to alt swap away. That's 4 more Shizu orbs. Orb change, full hand. We'll reset all of these skills that we just used. And then Chloe, because we want to raise our skill cap. And Milim has an alt, so she's ready to go. And now Shizu is also ready to go, and we're halfway through the fight. And now it's just a matter of getting to the final turn, because we're not going to double nuke here. So we're just going to start sending orbs. So I'm going to skip ahead to the nuke turn, because we literally don't do anything until that. So here, final turn, we are ready to go. And we need to use the weakness buff. So Trya needs to come out. So buff, 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 and buff. So she's 2nd Anniversary Shizu, along with alt rushing. She also puts a 25% alt resistance down. And you can see that she does some pretty sad damage there. 174k. And then Space Milim, 244k, because she has the Drago buff. And yeah, we're at 720,000 damage. So, hey, but the good news is, it's an S rank. So, bottom of the barrel, sad team, have at it. Hopefully, one of these teams helps you improve your score, even by a little bit. Again, if you're not in a super competitive group, any kind of score can be better than the other person, and you could get, top placement in your group ranking if you just put in a little effort and try a team out, any kind of team. But if you have any other teams that work, please put it down in the comments below. But that's it from me, guys. Take it easy. Good luck, and I'll see you all later.